Joe Giglio for NJ Sports Now on this Thursday, February the 5th. As we get closer and closer to spring training, Sandy Alderson, the general manager of the New York Mets, is once again talking about expectations. Last year, put a 90-win goal for his baseball team. They ended up coming up short, 79 wins. Everyone knew at that time that goal was very lofty for the talent and who was on that Mets roster. You fast forward to now, as we get set for the 2015 season, I don't think Sandy Alderson's latest claim is as outlandish, and really, if things go right for the Mets, they should be a team that wins over 87, 88 games and gets themselves in position to be close to the postseason. Sandy Alderson a couple days ago said the Mets have the talent right now on the team without adding anyone to make a jump from 79 wins to maybe 10 to 12 more, putting them 89 to 91 wins. And if you look at the postseason field from last year, that would be good enough to get the Mets near or into the postseason in the National League. And you look at why Alderson is right here, it's for a couple reasons. A couple players that you would have to expect, and the Mets, I know they expect, to have bigger performances or bounce-back performances in 2015 compared to 2014. I mean, last year the Mets had a lot of nice things go well for them, including the emergence of Jacob deGrom, the Rookie of the Year, really nice right-handed pitcher they put in the middle of their rotation. They had Juan Lagares continue to show he is an everyday center fielder and a difference maker defensively. They had the emergence in the second half of the year of Travis d'Arnaud, a catcher they really believed in for a few years now, since trading for him in the deal that sent R.A. Dickey to the Toronto Blue Jays. But a couple things weren't in the Mets' favor last year. Number one, Curtis Granderson, their big free agent signing last year, did not have a great year. Now, you bring Kevin Long in, the former Yankees hitting coach, where Granderson had his best seasons, his best power and production seasons. He's back with Granderson. You might get better production out of the outfielder in 2015. David Wright, who the Mets gave a gigantic contract to be their franchise player, to be their Chipper Jones, be their Derek Jeter, be there as this Mets team comes back to relevance. He had the worst year of his career last year, bothered by a shoulder injury the entire season. If David Wright is healthy, he will hit. We have seen that every year of his career since he came up in 2004. David Wright is a great baseball player, a great hitter, and if he is right, he will produce for the Mets in the middle of the lineup. Last year, of course, the Mets did not have one pitch thrown from Matt Harvey. You know, the guy who burst on the scene a couple years ago, started the 2013 All-Star game at Citi Field, when right, and we'll see if he is when we get to spring training and how many innings he can handle and what his body, stamina is after a year off with Tommy John surgery. If Matt Harvey is himself, the Mets just added one of the 5 to 10 best pitchers in the world. That makes a difference. You add in the signing of a Michael Kadire, who's not a great player, but gives a little more depth to the lineup here for the Mets in 2015. And I mentioned d'Arnaud, and he's a guy to watch because from about July on, he hit as well as any catcher in baseball not named Buster Posey. If d'Arnaud can take whatever he was doing in the second half of last year and carry it over and start to replicate those MVP type of numbers that he showed when he was in the minor leagues, he was the AA MVP in the Eastern League way back when. If he can be that type of hitter, along with the bounce-back season from Wright, along with a little more production from a Curtis Granderson, the return of Matt Harvey, the Mets do have enough talent as it is now to win 10 to 12 more games than they did a year ago. Sandy Alderson, he didn't do a ton this offseason. I know Mets fans are very skeptical about shortstop. They wanted more in the bullpen. They wanted to bring in another bat here to help this team out. But as the Mets stand now, if things go the way they plan, and not always happens in baseball, but if things go the way they plan, there is enough talent heading down to Port St. Lucie in a couple weeks to compete for a postseason spot in 2015. I'm Joe Giglio for NJ Sports.